a blade, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screen and LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rise. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down.
Good morning, guys. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Who we got in the chat? We got Coma. Always here first, bro. I got Sterling, Mikey, Brett, Noah, Elvin, Jason's channel. What's up, bro? Josh, Overcome, Mark. You got Grayson, Costine. How you doing, man? It's been a while. Andrew, Crypto Jeff, TNB. Right on. All right, let's get to it. Good morning, GTA. Paul, Aldo. Got some people running in here now. Arrow. Okay, so Bitcoin. Yesterday we were preparing for, like we titled it, we're preparing for a long. There was a couple of scenarios yesterday you could have gotten a position here. We were looking for, yesterday and during this valley area, like shorts at the valley area high, right? If we got the structure, longs at the valley area low. And the last long opportunity, there wasn't very much structure other than like the 3-minute time frame. There was that bullish change of character leading into the yesterday's 15-minute orb, and getting past the point of control of this local valley area. So we had good confidence for our return back up to the valley area high, but we ended up breaking past the valley area high right here, and we got acceptance into this previous valley area during this moment. And I made a post yesterday that we had that this was the acceptance moment, and that we're likely going to get that rotation back up to the valley area high on the 4-day valley area up here. And we went range bound for a little bit, then we eventually got there and returned to the valley area high, which had high confidence for shorts. And I didn't get in on the short because the R&R wasn't really there. I was focusing like too much maybe on the 15-minute time frame, and I saw that we had like that bearish change of character. So I was hoping that we'd get that bounce off the high confluence zone right here, and then get in on a golden pocket retracement and then target the valley area low. So by me being a little bit too patient, I missed the opportunity of the drop. But this was great confidence for short because of the fact that, we got to that valley area high. We ran up pretty, I wouldn't say too aggressively, but we ran up in a way where a lot of oscillators were starting to get overheated, and like including the RSI, and we hit the downtrending momentum that has been keeping us down since we started this downtrend at 97,000 when we hit that high supply zone, grabbing all the liquidity from this area. And we had a little bit of a front run to the 200-day EMA. But yeah, we just tapped that again. This is our third tap of this downtrending momentum, right? But it had the confluence of that value area high, and then the opposing change of character kind of just, put the coffin in the nail and told us that we're going to come down to at least this value area low right here. So now my long goggles are back on. I'll be preparing for longs now. But there's one thing that we got to watch out for just in case, right? We might have that continuation. And that depends on how the structural behavior occurs here. Like right now, as we speak, we're tapping against the 15-minute orb, the 4-day point of control, and the confluence of the VWAP and this uptrending momentum to be tested. So we have high probability of us going back down. And what we want to look for is that bullish change of character off this area, preferably after like we sweep the most recent low, or maybe these lows as well, so we can use the newly added liquidity as fuel to help bring us up. But as we go up, we'll have to watch out for the 4-day point of control at like a 89,570 area. We also have like a very strong volume node here from the 70+ day range. It used to be the point of control. And if I zoom out a little further, let's go to the daily. Right? This used to be the point of control right about here. But a little bit of consolidation down here evolved it from here to here. It does not mean that this is not an important area to watch just because it's not the point of control. It just means that this is now labeled as like the fairest value point, right? So when we get up to here, we just got to watch this as a like volume shelf resistance, volume node resistance that can induce pullbacks, just like here as well when we get to this area. But yeah, we hit our head here, and we're starting to have that rotation back down to our local value area low. And but macro-wise, like we're starting to see that squeeze, right? Basically building a falling wedge structure off of this larger 70+ day value area, and this could help induce a move up, right? So depending on how we behave, we could be painting more of this picture. We'll get closer and closer to the apex point potentially down here. But that's only if we get the acceptance back into that previous value area that we were just talking about in the lower time frames. This guy right here. Let me zoom out. Yeah, this acceptance will give us a target extension for anyone who might be in a short. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're in an active short right now, this is what you got to cross your fingers for. We got to get a break of structure leading into this value area. And then we have to watch out for two forms of confluence that could induce a reversal prior to the rotation to that value area low at 87,400. At 87,860, we have this point of control, which is now the evolved 70-day value area point of control as well. So they're kind of clung together in confluence. So we got to treat this as a threat for anyone who might be in a short position. And right now, this is the first barrier they got to break. So think of it like a boss fight. We got to beat this boss in order for us to go to the next level and fight this boss. And if we break below that, then we'll have our rotation down. We did see this morning when we're doing our trade hunting call, a lot of liquidity resting below this wick level. If we go over here, this is the 2-week. Let me just pull up, get our measurement tool, click, drag. Yeah, 3 days, 6 hours. So we need to get to like our 3-day or 1 week. Because we've got a bunch of liquidity pulled down here about in the form of liquidations, right? And likely stop losses as well. Over $200 million in this cluster waiting to potentially be taken. So if you were a market maker and let's say you exited your position around here off of like other forms of liquidity, then down here could be a good form of entry liquidity to get in with the least amount of slippage. So we got to watch out for this potentially acting as a magnet to the market makers, and that could be a great spot to prepare for a high confluence long. But that's a big ask right now. If we're just thinking about today we're looking for just scalps within this valley area. Now at like right now, we don't really have the structure yet to define a reversal. We did have like that, like a high volume reaction to a 45-minute order block here, and the confluence of that 4-day valley area. So we're just getting that bounce, and the opposing confluence should drive us back down. But if we get acceptance inside this valley area, not this valley area, above this point of control, above the VWAP, and we break past this uptrending momentum again, then we will be looking for shorts all over again over here, right? And I'd be very cautious to be holding any existing shorts if you're in on one. I was really hopeful that we get the bounce initially here. Like I said before, we had the previous highs, point of control, VWAP, momentum to give us that bounce after we had this change of character, and using the confluence of like a golden pocket in that area and the orb high. Oh, wrong one. And just using that as a tool to help get me in, and using this strong high as a stop loss guard. That could have been a limit scenario. Like if you already have all your rules met, but you're just lacking the R&R, because if you jumped in on that change of character, like to our target, it was just over a 1-to-1. And on the confirming candle, if you just went on the confirming candle, it was like a natural 1-to-1. You still had high probability. It's just when you had that many confluences in your face, you tend to want to wait for a pullback, so you can be more responsive for when price action returns to those areas, and so you can at least get some money off the table if you see some opposing confluences come against you in terms of structure. But yeah, the 3-minute time frame was the highlight of the day. I had that earlier change of character warning with the confluence of losing that volume node and acceptance into the orb. Well, the orb was just created after that. And you would have kept your stop loss there. So now we're just, sitting on our hands, waiting for structure. It's just a quick repeat, looking for a bullish change of character here, at least on the 3-minute time frame. And then we have to be cautious of the point of control along the way with the confluence of the orb low, or a continuation with acceptance into this valley area coming down. And if we get that continuation, your opposing barriers you have to watch out for start at 87,900. We have some order blocks here, but not high confluence order blocks. So we can see us likely come down to at least the momentum and then come up from there. But yeah, that's Bitcoin, guys. That's what I'm sitting on my hands waiting for next. Congrats to anyone who may have taken a short on this move. Pretty dang clean. It's just a lot of weird barriers in the way. Is the one and only Freak Chiz? Yeah. What's up, guys? What would you guys like to look at next or talk about next? We got a lot of people in the chat today. We got 50 viewers. Appreciate everybody for coming on the stream. If you'd like to like and share, it would help a lot. Grow the channel a bit. But yeah, you guys can send me your request, what assets we got. I'm not time pressed today. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays, I tend to have to do the TA quick because I'm time pressed. But okay, Wednesday, got a lot more free time. So I can talk about Ethereum next, actually. Let's pull up that bad boy, see how it's doing. And then we'll look at Solana. So Ethereum's got some relative strength right now. Okay. So it itself is above this previous value area high, building double top structure against this momentum. Let me zoom out and see where I got that momentum drawn from. Okay, so this was buyer's momentum for this range that we were in for about 75 days. So this is basically the same structurally. It's kind of same as what Bitcoin's kind of dealing with. It just recently bounced off that macro value area low, and it's trying to get a rotation to the value area high here, but we do have opposing confluences that could first induce a reversal, make us go range bound a little bit longer before going up. I think the last time we were range bound before we had that change of character and break of structure follow up, we were there for 17 days. Relative to Bitcoin's positioning, if you go to Bitcoin's daily, and it's looking very similar, right? We bounced off of that macro value area low, and we're trying to get that rotation up. But like I said before, opposing confluences are kind of keeping us down to keep us ranging a little longer. And same scenario, we were stuck here for about 17, 20 days before we ran up to that macro value area high. So here we got to prepare for potential pullback. And I can show you how you can prepare for something like that. Going into the 15-minute time frame, we have this previous value area high. The age of this value area high, let me just click and drag this here for a second. It's not a proper spot. We can move this here too. And let's add our value area high here. Okay. So when we get acceptance to a value area, you anticipate price action to behave the same way we did before, right? Rotations to that value high and the value low, ping-ponging into a range, right? We got that acceptance from this break of structure here, leading into the value area. And then we rotate to the value area high. And now we're in a spot where kind of like we're dancing on a cliff right now. And we're pretty much, yeah, there's already a front run opportunity to potentially enter a short already. And if we get the acceptance, like proper acceptance back into this value area through a close below this low, then we can get that rotation back down to the value area low around. I'll be looking at like 2,934, where this point of control is, as a good take profit area along the way down. We can zoom in a little bit further. Can you tell us the story a little bit? I hate it when assets do these little step ladder drops where they'll give you lower highs, of course, but they keep just, sweeping lows, coming back up, sweeping lows, coming back up, and just slow crawls their way down. But yeah, here, at least in the lower time frames, we had that bearish change of character right here, in confluence with losing the VWAP. And relative to Bitcoin's positioning, it's like Bitcoin is testing a point of control, and Ethereum right now is testing the VWAP, confluence, and supply order block, and it's trying to get that pull back as well. In terms of Ethereum's relative positioning against Bitcoin's, I would say Ethereum's not likely going to come all the way back down here unless Bitcoin gets acceptance back inside the previous value area down here, right? You can clearly tell that I trade Bitcoin a lot more than Ethereum based on all the drawings I got going on. But if Bitcoin gets acceptance into this value area again, then Ethereum is going to get that rotation down to that point of control again, right here. So we got this demand zone right here holding us up. And if we mitigate that, we get a full body candle close below here, then we'll likely come down here simultaneously alongside Bitcoin, dropping down to this point of control. And that's at, 2,934 for Ethereum. So if you're an existing short right now, it'd be stop loss guard above this strong high here at 3,000, just above 3,041. And your entry, there could be a front run entry criteria from this descending double top right here. But this was the safer play, higher probability play of a drop when we closed below the VWAP and got that bearish change of character. So these guys here are kind of holding us up. And it's our last little area of support before falling down to that point of control. Going to Let me just draw the pathing of what we're predicting here. Drop, sweep, and return up. Or worst case scenario, retest and low. Now going to XLM, because I'm trying to monitor this asset every single day because it's preparing for a potential 70-80% move, being at a macro value area low. I created a new Fibonacci kind of layout to help, mainly for beginners, to help guide you into knowing like 25 to 50% deviations and using color psychology to help you with shorts and longs. Because the market cap really starts to dwindle around here, that's why this seems much larger, but the still percentage value is the same from here to here. So yeah, we're at that value area low, and we're just waiting for either A, you can wait for the macro confluence of a break of this strong high here. If we break that, we flip bullish, we'll be above the value area low again, this 400 plus day previous value area low. This value area came from the previous bull market when we had that Web3 boom that brought us up here. And we ranged here for 400 days before going into a bear market. And then we had teleported price back up. So yeah, here we're looking for a return back up to the value area high. And from the value area low to the value area high is like 100% move. But I'm anticipating that we'll probably capture about maybe 80% of that safely, right? Unless we get a front run opportunity down here and we manage to be able to hold it through key level breaks. That's definitely possible. Like down here, for example, if we zoom into like a 4 hour and an hourly time frame, we can use that lower time frame posture to define a safe entry for longs. But then you have to babysit it a lot more as we start to approach that 400-day previous value low that could potentially act as a form of resistance, right? And if it does act as resistance, then XLM could be in a lot of trouble. But regulations are kind of working alongside XLM in a positive way. So I can imagine that we're more likely to go up, but nothing's ever definite. So you just got to make sure that you wait on that structure, wait on your rules before jumping in. So if you're a spot investor, this is a good thing to keep your eye on. If you're thinking about trading this in futures, I'd be very cautious about trading with futures because of the fact that you're going to be hit with funding rate fees to hold this trade. And those fees will hit you, depending on the exchange. They have funding rate fee intervals of 6, sometimes 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, or 24 hours. The majority of them are like 8-hour intervals. So you just got to be aware, especially with altcoins, those funding rate fees could devour your profits. So be super cautious. Send this to back. We got a 4-hour order block on XLM at like 2240. So as we get up there, we got to approach that with caution. We just had a bearish tweezer reaction, but yeah, that just confirmed on the 4-hour, not even 10 minutes ago. We could pull a value area here, from here to here. You see we've got a failure of acceptance into that value area. This value area is about 6 days old. You pull a separate value area here. Our supply mitigated, so we'll include that. And right now we're testing that point control. And a close below this wick level would induce us a rotation back down to that value area low. Looking at the 15-minute time frame, yeah, we had that internal to this high here. Change of character. This was the drop, but the confirmation candle was way the heck down here, so it'd be a pain in the butt seeing something like that, preparing for a short, and then your confirming candle just eats up your R&R when you're trying to target these lows. And right now we're mitigating 30-minute and 15-minute order blocks in confluence with this point of control, volume node, area of interest. So we could get a bounce and maybe get that head and shoulders kind of posture before coming down. But yeah, I'll be sitting on your hands, maybe waiting for the long position down here, and it could be a good front run to big macro move if we manage to get acceptance back in here and get that strong rotation back up. So what your goal would be when you're trying to get front runs to big macro moves is to look at bottoms of ranges where liquidity is, and using your entry criteria, your rules, like mine, for example, like a break of downtrending momentum, bullish change of character at a value area low, or at least a deviation of 25 to 50% of that value area low, and then looking for a long to the value area high in hopes that we use it as support with a break of structure and get a stronger continuation. And then you can hold your trade a lot more emotionlessly when you start to get acceptance into previous value areas, because they extend your target, right? So long here, acceptance into this value area, then target extension to that value area high, while being mindful of the point of control. I hope it helps you out, but that's what I look for when it comes to like target extensions. And just like with Bitcoin right now, if you're in a short, if you're looking for a target extension beyond this value area low, you want to have that acceptance into this previous value area so you can extend your target to at least that value area low while being mindful of any barriers along the way. Okay, what else we got in the chat? Check Forex Factory. Oh, there's some stuff today. I don't really need to check Forex Factory anymore. We have our own system in place inside the server. So today is Wednesday, 2 p.m. Well, it might be discussions about FOMC at 2 o'clock. That could cause some whipsaw price action, by the way, depending on how hawkish or dovish Jerome Powell might seem during the discussion. If he is a part of that conversation, I got to check. But yeah, be cautious around 2 p.m. Eastern. It could end up being you could end up creating some whipsaw events that can get you knocked out. The next few things that we have to worry about, just like advanced GDP comes out in 21 hours on tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. and then PCE comes out on Friday. But yeah, FOMC talks are always big market drivers, so just be super aware of when they occur. I appreciate you bringing that up, man. And sometimes what usually ends up happening is price action will slow down, volume will dwindle as we get closer and closer to that time, and then it gets a little bit explosive after that. All the uncertainty keeps traders out, and then when they start talking about stuff, the clarity kind of brings volume back. Bearded Mike, in the 30-day course about to be done with it, haven't seen previous value to stand for previous value lows. Oh yeah. So whenever you see how I mark my chart, when we get acceptance into, I'm adding more material to the courses very soon, by the way. But yeah, there's whenever you see a P in front of the value area low markers here, it just stands for previous. So you can use previous value areas in confluence with your trading, because the market has memory of these fair values, right? So when we get acceptance into it, we behave similarly to how we were in those areas. So the highs are critical areas to watch, and the lows are critical areas to watch, and the point of control is a critical area to watch. You can see it a lot like how it's happening right now, right? We got a rejection at the value area high. We used the value area low as support, and now we're down here trying to use the value area low as support again. And the more you learn about values, the more I promise you it'll evolve your trading. It's intense. Okay. Good morning, Jillian. What's up? CBCN Long Zone says overcome here. Let's take a peek. Do we have a ZVCN chart? I don't think so, but we can always pull it up. Oh, we do. Okay. Last time we looked at it was in June 10th. Let's take a look. See what we're looking at in June. Okay. It's not like fully marked chart. May, June. Oh, we had that run up and we're predicting for it to go down right here. Whenever you see those dotted lines pointing down, it's a measurable based move based on momentum. And I'm assuming it was from this head and shoulders posture that we had here. It's the Batman one, right? So we had that confirmation, stop loss above the shoulder, and then we slow dragged our way down to the demand zone that we had drawn here and the 200-day EMA. Let's clear this chart up a bit. We have, go to the daily here for a second. I use it right inside my box zones to help beginners out a bit, but it just creates so much noise. Let's click and drag, control, delete. Let's get rid of the vector candles. All right, here's our macro demand zone for CBCN. And you are right, we are kind of approaching that zone of interest. We have this downtrending momentum here. This is the pace of the sellers. And it's been keeping the price down for about 243 days. So we could soon see a macro continuation. Now with our value area pull, we do not want to include the demand just yet until it's mitigated. If we mitigate it and then we come up, then you can pull and include your value area pull a part of that. But until then, yeah, just get the surface price action above it. Lots of noise. All right, then we have price action right now being at that 243-day value area low. So you are right, definitely a zone to prepare for longs. And that value area low is at 0.002999994. Ridiculous. Let's get we'll mark our wick level lows, prepare for sweeps. These wick levels tend to have lots of liquidity pooled below it, so you can prepare for an SFP pattern. Right, and we have internal momentum that we can monitor. Go down to the hourly now. Then we got our key levels marked. So we've got more broad momentum here. We have evolving momentum here, but we could see that it broke already, so no point in drawing it. We are range bound. We have two lower time frame value areas here. And dancing around the VWAP. Pull this here to here. I'm going to pull this from here to here. So macro conditions suggest we should prepare for longs. Structurally, if we go to the daily, let's see if we can find a good key level to watch out for. We're fairly internal because of this wick level low that we got down here to this high. And so all this is internal to this high and this low. Actually, yeah, here, my bad. So we gotta look for a good key level break of this high here. And then we expect more of a stronger rotation up unless we come down lower and take out some of these lows and evolve structure a bit. There could be some front run opportunities, of course. But I'd like to see, like me personally, I'd like to see a sweep of this low here at 0.00265 We have this like demand zone right here holding us up. We're starting to mitigate it. So what I'd like to see like longer term is us to return down and sweep this and prepare for a break of this more broad momentum and bring us up to test that macro value area low, maybe get acceptance back inside the value area and get a rotation up. We'll have the confluence of maybe being above the 200 and the 50-day EMA. And these guys are going to be big barriers along the way. So you got to watch them hawkishly. I'd set alarms for taps off those zones. We have very crunchy price action on this asset. You can tell it's being suppressed. It's just a matter of waiting for that structure to reverse, give you that reversal. The EMAs are starting to curve back up again. Just the consolidation that we're having right now is starting to make them squeeze very soon. Like squeeze events are good for EMAs because then it's a lot easier to cross when you have price action get above them. But what's the size of that? That value area is about 70%. So it's similar vibes as XLM and basic attention token. Like everything's kind of getting suppressed into like good, strong key areas of support, preparing for a macro reversal. So spot investors should keep their eyes out for these assets. You can get close to a double in your hold once they confirm. Is it time for that BTC long? Not unless you're a knife catcher. We had a 45-minute order block here in conflicts with the value area low. You could have limit ordered on something like that, but I'm not a limit order trader unless I have all my rules already met. So no, I wouldn't say that it's time to long yet. I'm not saying that we won't go up, but for the conditions that I look for, I'm looking for a 3 to 15-minute bullish change of character at the value area low, and then I'll get in if the R&R is right to the target of the value area high, while being cautious of barriers along the way, like the VWAP, the point of control, and also in this case, the orb is up here too. And right now we're trying to fight our way back up. But no, I wouldn't say this is time for long. The long opportunity kind of came and went yesterday, and now it's about anyone who's in their shorts preparing to, they should have taken some profits down here at this value area low. We're just sitting on our hands waiting for the proper structure to define the long, and then we're set. You'll get a signal from me if all the conditions are met for a long. I'll format the same way I did before. So here, yesterday's, like people, I got a lot of messages, people saying they love seeing the amount of leverage I used and the risk too. So I'll be including that going forward, and not just the entry conditions, stop loss suggestion or target. Now, I like to try to handhold as much as I can, just in case there's a brand new trader like trying to learn. Help you in your learning journey there. But yeah, we're getting there. We just gotta be patient, man. We're in the battle right now against a point of control in that VWAP. So we're just waiting for a healthy pullback. Awesome updates. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Okay, misunderstood. What, a long squeeze coming? Squeeze, yes, for some altcoins. Not really for... There's an opportunity for Bitcoin to get squeezed too, of course. If we zoom out on Bitcoin on like the 4 hour, we can see us getting kind of squeezed into a potential falling wedge, which is a really common bullish structure. It is actively bearish while it's forming, but statistically, they break to the upside because of how the structure takes liquidity along the way down, constantly takes. But when it comes to along the way down as well, we're adding liquidity above us. So statistically, falling wedges break to the upside because of that. But you still need to depend on market structure to define when it's the safest opportunity to get in on a move like that. So right now, that squeeze is occurring with the confluence of a value area low. So our apex point is roughly around the beginning of February if we do get a squeeze, but we don't have a defined squeeze just yet. I like to see us getting closer to about, like, I would say, like 20% away from the apex point. And then at that point, yeah, I'd classify it as a squeeze. Seeing a bunch of people jump into their shorts, open interest going up on shorts, and then seeing them all get wiped out from liquidity grabs. That the falling wedge technical target is the top side where the liquidity starts to go cold, but there are scenarios that would front run those targets. For example, if we got in along down here, we'd be watching the valley area high, 4-hour order block confluence that could front run that kind of target and get right out around like 92,000, 93,000 area. But yeah, Bitcoin doesn't really have a full-on proper defined squeeze event, but XLM, CBCN, and basic attention token are getting there, and then we'll see an explosive move, likely statistically to the upside. It's just a matter of like waiting for that structural posture. I'm getting everyone kind of ready for it, like 30 days ahead of time, because you got to get that mindset ready. You don't want to be surprised when everything's just sprinting to the moon, right? Okay, what we got to the chat? We were pretty much all caught up there. Does anyone want me to look at specific assets? So long as it's not some kind of crazy degen asset like Fartcoin, please, not Fartcoin, or 6-7 coin. But yeah, I'll look at some like higher market cap stuff for you guys. A common one. Oh, I gotta look at Solana still. Let's see what Sol's doing. Oh, that's the auto test chart. Solana got that same kind of positioning as Ethereum, actually. See, right now Solana's trying to get acceptance into a 252-day structural value area low. If we zoom out on the daily, it comes from this range right here that has a lot of control over the price action. So as we get close to that level at like around $127, this is a great area of interest to prepare for longs, right? And we're there right now trying to get acceptance into it now, but it does look like it's failing, so it might pull back again first before getting that full-on move up, similar to what we saw last time, right? Last time we were here, we built this double bottom. Our neckline was flush with that key level, and then we got that initial break, and we were targeting this is a moment where you could actually target the structural value area high. And I know there's a lot of noise on my chart, but that's all the way up here at, let's see, yeah, $170 right here. So we were targeting up there, but we were very, very mindful of the fact that the 252-day previous point control is at 144. And that level is king right now. So if we do get that pullback again, when we get that acceptance to that value area, we can anticipate a move again, targeting that value area high while still being super hawkish, or careful, sorry, around 144. So that's what I'm kind of anticipating right now for Solana. It's going to take some time to paint that picture. The last time we were painting that kind of picture, it took us 14 days of ranging. I'm not saying it'll take us that long again. It might take us half the duration or even a quarter of that duration. All it really technically requires to get the proper flip posture is like a 2-candle pullback, consecutive candle pullback. We have 7 hours left on this one, and then tomorrow we could have another, and then a break of the high. Then we have a bullish flip. It's not a bullish change of character, but it's still something just like this, a bullish flip that could define a really strong move. So like minimum, likely 3 days before getting that kind of potential move. This was a key level that we're watching out for shorts. It never confirmed. We did, however, when we got this move in here, when we got acceptance into this value area right here, But now we're starting to see a double top, break, losing that value area, and we should be looking for a drop, continuation down. This is the hourly time frame. Let's go down to the 15-minute. See what could be holding us. We got this little demand, not that strong. Well, we could be coming up right now. We have like a double bottom, hit our head off of this structural value area low, 30-minute and 15-minute order block, VWAP. So lots of confluence to hit our head and continue down and maybe break the low and gives that break of structure continuation. I'd be monitoring this as an area of interest right here. So previous valley area. It's a young valley area. It's nothing crazy. It's about a day old. You still watch it, and this will help you with evolving your targets if you're on existing shorts with Solana. So if we have a acceptance into this value area with a break of structure, then we can anticipate for it to rotate down to that value area low, and this will be your next little boss that you got to watch out for. So, yep, potentially hit our head here, lower low, watch this zone at 147, and then watch the zone at 123, and see if we get that reversal. Maybe we'll consolidate and come back up, or if we close below it and use it as resistance, then I'm anticipating this to hold us up, to be honest, right here. If we do manage to get down that low, we have a really decent demand zone here. Can rotate this from here to here. So yeah, Solana's trying to get in there, but when you have a run up like this, people are bound to take some profits, especially when you're at a point of interest like this. So the pathing that I would prepare for, like mentally, for Solana, so I can hit our head here, maybe break that low, bounce, acceptance, and then here prepare for longs again. And again, that would likely come with the confluence of Bitcoin potentially getting that acceptance to this value area low here. We did get that double bottom break right now on Bitcoin though, so we might actually get another short opportunity if we rotate back up to this value area high again. So watch out for that. If we do manage to break past this, don't get the FOMO, because there is a lot of confluence for shorts here too. It's another zone of interest I'm watching. If we get above this value high, break a structure, we could sweep this high. There's liquidity waiting here to be taken, and we have the confluence of the 50-day EMA. So getting up here could mean a really good short. It's just your first primary bear you're going to watch out for is the previous highs, alongside with that 4-day value area high that could act as a form of support and induce a range. But acceptance into that would extend your target back down to 88,800. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be short-term bullish again. Let's delete this. We don't need this anymore. This was a key level we're watching for shorts. And we got a bullish flip, not a bullish change of character here. This would have been a change of character if we took this low first, but we didn't. So now everything's internal between this high and this low. I did learn a bunch from your explanation though. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to explain things as beginner friendly as I can, so you guys can learn. Even if there's not a trade opportunity, there's an opportunity to learn something on the charts. SLVX, please, and hype-ZEC AXS. All right, so we got lots of requests coming in. So SLVX. I'm not sure what. Oh, it's only on. So this thing is super young. It's on Finex. It's the only exchange it's listed on. Well, it's not too young, but yeah, it's young. The only price action we have to go off of on the daily is this. Okay, well, we can clearly see some daily order blocks. So there's good confluence to prepare for a bounce, right? We don't have, a second, wrong chart. So scenarios like this, you have to look at psychological levels and the order books. The order books are going to be your best friend with this asset right now. I don't see a dinosaur here, so that means there's a good chance that this is not the only price action that's available. It's just the one that's only available on this chart. So just be aware of that if you're trading this asset. It might likely have something in a decentralized environment for you to find more information on it in terms of price action. But here's this is our change of character level. This is when things will flip bearish on the daily. We will likely see an evolved key level though before that, but this is when price action flips technically bearish on the daily. I'm anticipating that we'll get a 2 candle pullback and then a higher high to then evolve that strong low to that new key level, and then we have a different daily key level for when it flips bearish. But yeah, this thing's going strong. We got kind of like broad momentum here, and we have evolving momentum here, right? So the pace of the buyers are actually speeding up. That's what that suggests. So if we, let's say we lose, get a bearish change of character here, then we'd watch this momentum and confluence with some order blocks and demand. So we have a daily order block here. Let's mark that. It's our most local one, the only one that really need to pay attention to the most right now. Now let's zoom in. Now we did our daily analysis. Let's go down to the 4-hour, see how its posture looks. So this is like a daily change of character. So daily chalk level. So when we have a 4-hour, you have to kind of restrict yourself to the rules of the higher time frame, right? So if you're looking for, let's say for example, like a short based on the 4-hour time frame, will either be based on that break of this strong low. Right now, the 4-hour is internal between this high and this low. So any breaks of structure or changes of character that happen here are technically internal to this time frame. But yeah, if we break this bearishly, then this is going to be a limitation of where your target. So you can target as low as that area, but you got to watch for. You got to understand that this is likely guarded, and we have a daily order block here that could also prevent us from going down that low. So this kind of, when you look at higher time frames, it keeps you grounded with your targeting. So you can't just, if you're looking for a short and you're trying to get this thing down to 0, it's not going to happen, right? Not usually. So we want to use that larger time frame market structure as a barrier effect, telling you that we shouldn't be targeting lower than this right now. You can of course, but you need to depend on that to break with the daily candle close, and then you can start evolving your targets. So we got 4-hour internally inside this daily order block that we got drawn on SLVX. This is our key level break of the 4-hour. Now let's start rotating to lower time frames to dissect it further. So this is our current all-time high based on this chart. It might not be the actual all-time high of this asset. It's based on the data that we have. A good way to validate this is just to look at the asset on a decentralized overlook platforms like DeFi Llama, or even Coin Market Cap now has cool tools like that. Let's go down now to the hourly. Hourly is also internal. We have our bearish flip, but not a bearish change of character when we close below this area. And that could define a move back down, potentially down to these lows. What we have for, see, we got uptrending momentum here that could induce reversals. Momentum, you want to make sure you're watching the order books to see if there's a buy orders waiting. If you see a buy wall, then there could be good possibility that we get a bounce. I'd like to see this high taken so things aren't as internal. We can look for a bearish change of character here. Maybe this will induce a range. This thing isn't really ranging right now. It's more of a trend trader's asset when you're looking at the past of this asset, like we had our like demand here that helped us induce a range, but we were only there for like a couple taps before running back up. Same here. We have demand here. A couple taps, ran up. So this thing likes to run. So you got to kind of wait for the larger time frame structure to find when tired from its sprint, and then maybe it'll start to consolidate or have a strong reversal from there. But this thing doesn't show us any weakness just yet. So psychological levels are going to be important. Looking at rounded numbers like 110, 115, and seeing if the order books are agreeing with those psychological levels with giant sell walls. 15-minute posture. Yeah, not much either. So yeah, statistically, you can wait for short to round here, but there's not much. If we lose momentum, then we'll be looking here for a bounce at $92. But there's no, other than waiting for the potential of us coming back down here, there isn't really any long opportunities right now. I hope that helps you out, man. Really young asset, so there wasn't very much TA to do on it. How we doing on Bitcoin? Still holding the VWAP, still trying to get inside this orb here. Still a higher probability of rotation up to at least here. Getting back above that momentum, VWAP, POC, and orb. So all that is screaming for us to go at least to here. This is what we're asking for, but it's not might not be what we get. Okay, what we got in the chat? What's next? Trench Juice. What's up, man? Good to see you too, bro. Trench Juice is building some cool indicators. I still gotta go through them all, man. You keep spitting them out pretty quickly. Okay. What was the next request? We went through CBCN, we went through XLM, we went through Ethereum, we went through Solana, we went through Bitcoin. We went through SLVX. Hype was another request. How is Hype doing? Hype is a really good decentralized asset for DEX. If anyone's looking for a DEX to trade on. Got a rounded top forming here. It's a bearish thing, means we're statistically likely to go down. Let's take a look and see why is that happening? Where is this happening? Okay, we had a violent move up. We flipped bullish right here. We came down from this consolidation. We built strong supply like here. This supply is what induced this neckline, right? So whenever you see supply like this, whenever you see an impulse move down, base of structure, another impulse move down, just like we're seeing here, you got to anticipate this to act as a form of resistance when we return back up to it, right? And once it's mitigated, it becomes a good key level. We kind of mitigate half of it here. It becomes a good key level to prepare for moves back up to previous value areas, like this one. We've got a lot of noise here because we're a little bit more actively trading it during this moment, but not so much after the fact. Bitcoin got a lot of my attention lately. It's just been really predictable inside of its value areas. But let's clean up some of this noise. Let's clean this whole chart up. Start it over. Okay. Our broad momentum here, right? This is the macro momentum that started from $59.45. We flip bullish here after we got this new low, involving our strong high from here to here. Let's see, we have to rotate now to lower time frames. Let's go to the 6 hour. Oh, my bad. Sometimes I click and drag and try to move the screen and end up using the paintbrush instead. We lost this value area during this moment right here. Okay, and we're at the value area high from this previous value area. So previous value area high. You can use Control J. Oh, my bad. Where did I go? Probably Alt J, my bad. Yeah, Alt J, my bad. Yeah, Alt J allows you to create horizontal rays and one really quickly. And then all you gotta do is like go to your template and you can adjust it from there a lot faster. And the age of this was, how old was this before we lost it? 17 days. So we were range bound here for about 17 days before we lost this zone of interest. So T plus day, previous value high, Control C, and mark this. So it looks like we're in a good spot to prepare for shorts on hype. Got some good relative strength, but this is a really aggressive move and we can take some of this back. I want to mark this as well for its previous high. We can local support. All right, now let's zoom in even further. Let's go to the 4 hour. Not much new data other than the fact that we got some fair value gaps here like we filled. Going to the hourly. Yeah, not great either. All right, 30-minute. The key level here at 32.43 for hype. All right. So we've got like a lower time frame kind of rounded top forming, which is bearish. It's a sign of like confidence dwindling. Just think of it that way. So it's common for you to see like a spike move up, drop, and like a rounded top like this. That's a sign of, this is called an Adam and Eve. It's very similar to a rounded top. We kind of had a similar behavior like this, except the top here overcame the left side of the Adam and Eve here. So you can call this a rounded top, you can call this an Adam and Eve, but in order for me to really want me to call it a proper Adam and Eve, I want to see the high here flush with this high here as well. We have an internal double top descending here that broke already. We're starting to lose the VWAP, so we're getting that additional confluence of a drop alongside the macro momentum. Very, very similar conditions to Bitcoin when it was right here, right? Obviously, it didn't move up nearly as aggressively as hype did, but very similar conditions because Bitcoin, if you zoom out in the macro, this is downtrending momentum from like 97,000, right? And it helped give us confidence for this drop when we had that bearish change of character. So that's kind of what we're lacking right now with hype, is that like higher time frame. Like this is a 30-minute structure that we're looking at right now. Pullback, high, internal pullback, and if we break here, then we will flip bearish, and it would rotate back down to at least $30.50, which is not too big of a move, right? But when we're looking at previous value area data, it suggests there's a lot of interest in that area and prepare for potential longs. So what I don't like about this is we don't really have demand structure, right? So if we could deviate below this, and I wouldn't make this my primary target, this just be an area of caution, right? So you can box this as a zone of interest to prepare it for like around $31, between $31.03 and $30.50 as an area of caution. But I would be targeting down here, personally. We had the previous highs here, right? We just mitigated supply there that kind of induced this pullback. And because of that, we consolidated against this, and we might have some potential residual buyers waiting in that zone. So I'll be boxing this as an area of interest. We have a 30-minute order block on the ceiling of this area of interest. And for those of you who don't know what an order block is, it is a two-candle pattern that defines that there could be potential residual buy orders in that zone. So their buy orders were strong enough to induce a move like this, so there could be some left over waiting to be filled. And it's a sign of potential like high participants or institutional involvement. It's like a high confluence zone. So the reasoning I would say this order block was created was maybe not just institutional involvement or anything like that. It could have been just high participants because we broke that previous high. A lot of people like to ape into longs when previous highs are broken. So it was enough to induce an order block to be created. So if I were to draw pathing, what I would expect for hype, it's a break with a candle close below that area. Prepare for a potential reversal here, right? And then this would be your ultimate target. And that deviation, this would be a good spot to even also prepare for longs. If you don't like to short an asset, which is understandable, especially when you're newer to trading, a lot of people start off as a one-dimensional trader because the psychology of shorting, like, it crosses some wires and brains in the beginning phases, right? So down here, you can look for longs and just wait for the bullish change of character first, and then you'll have to watch this as an area of caution. Same reason as to why you have to watch this as an area of caution. It's a key area of interest. This can act as a form of resistance and continue us down. So you want to have what you want to see is that acceptance with the break of structure, and then you start targeting that value area high again. But statistically, hype is more likely to go down from here. You just have to still wait for that confirmation. Pretty wild move. And congratulations to anyone who's holding hype right now, though. Like, that's an awesome move back up. It's starting to spark. On the daily, it's flip bullish finally, right? We don't even have that on Bitcoin technically, right? We didn't flip bullish yet in terms of market structure for Bitcoin yet. Position-wise for Bitcoin, we're at a really strong, like, 70-day value area low, but yeah, it's not as concrete of a potential reversal as what we're seeing right now with hype. So hype is getting some relative strength. Let's take a look at the chat. What do we got? SPX, NAS, all dying. Might pull Bitcoin down to our buy level. Yeah. Yeah, it's good confluence to look at the NASDAQ there, bro. Hype, Dash. Okay, so Dash is our next request. See how Dash is doing. We gotta start making chapters for our YouTube lives so we can mark whenever we go over a certain asset. If you guys ever want to go over my TA again. I know we go through a lot of assets, so we have a lot of chapters, but we have a Dash chart, do we not? How do we not have a Dash chart yet? I will pull it up on here. Go to Binance chart. Binance tends to have a lot of price action history. Lately, it's not the best liquidity, but okay. Yeah, Dash was obvious. And we were talking about Dash a lot recently when we came up through here. We had a short we're preparing for up here. This is the key level that we want to have broken before coming back down. It's nice to see it starting to recover off we had a green box zone down here at 38.87 that we had a really strong reaction off of. The confirming candle, at least on the daily time frame, it's just stupid. It's like way the heck up here. So you'd have to front run it in lower time frames. But now it doesn't look like much here that could hold us up other than the fact that we have lower time frame demand. That's why we have this zone here. And the 50-day EMA. So this could hold us up. So we'll see. It's very similar to like what we're seeing here, but in lower time frames going on here. We fought against that valley area low recently, whereas before we kind of like ripped right through it, and then we hit our head off of the valley area high and then came back down. And that's why we were confident in that kind of short. And because of how aggressive it ran up, we anticipated for it to take all these fair value gaps along the way down. And this is the zone of interest that we were watching for potential longs. And that's similar to what we're at now. We're in a demand zone now. We're mitigating it as we speak. So let's go to the lower time frames. So this is our little demand zone. Remember what we were talking about before. When you see that impulse move up, base of structure, impulse move up, you create demand, supply, same thing. Impulse move down, base structure, impulse move down, create supply. And then we had, this is the demand zone that we're created here. So it's kind of gappy, but whenever I see not very much consolidation, instead we just have like that, like kind of a stronger follow up with a break of structure. Not nearly as strong. Like the ceiling will act strong for a little bit, but then once you get acceptance inside of it, you tend to fall to the opposite side. And then the next time we come here, it's going to be a lot weaker. Think of it like armor, right? At first you're chipping at it, chipping at the armor. But once you start seeing like breaks of structure leading into it and changes the character, then we start to mitigate it, and then the armor starts to get destroyed, right? So we have a little bit left of it. So what you can do is you can refine your level down to mitigation right here. So this is our last little area of interest that could hold us up. We have a 55.85. We have a 50-day EMA alongside this. So this is all we got really left to hold us up. We have downtrending momentum we can use as a guide to prepare for longs on Dash. And this is another example of a potential kind of like a squeeze. It's not like we have our apex point here. What you could do, one thing that's kind of helpful for psychology is you can draw like a little triangle. Right? You can go where you find your brush tool down here where you find shapes. You get a triangle, and you can just, from where we're currently at in the price action to our key area of interest, you can click and drag like this. And this is like all we got left before the apex point is met with our support barrier. So we should be preparing for longs within this zone. And just the last thing you got to kind of depend on is market structure. So what I would like to see have happen on Dash before thinking about longs is maybe taking this low right here, evolving our strong high from here to here instead, right? And if we get up there, you could wait for the candle close above this zone and then start targeting this valley area low again, right, at 85.11. So there's obviously going to be front run opportunities as well. Depends on what kind of strategy you're using. For example, we have two little spots we can mark with your magnet tool. Click it here and right here where we can get an SFP. So at 54.07 and 57.50, those are good spots where you can prepare for a sweep and bounce. But if I were to pick which one I would prefer, normally you would want the lower one. But in that case, I personally wouldn't, because we'd have fully mitigated this demand. So it increases our probability of like getting that candle close that could really screw you up and bring us down. And we have the 50-day EMA here. So if we sweep that, it could act as resistance and keep us down. So if you took the SFP here, you're gonna have to watch the 50-day EMA as a potential barrier that keeps the price action from going up. So I would rather us sweep this low, see that SFP, and if we get the SFP, then you have really good confidence for a front run to a break of that high. Now, if we really kind of bring it down to dissection, This area is a form of supply in the lower time frame, like 15-minute. So we have to watch this a little bit hawkishly. And that's why it's going to be a little bit more safer to wait for the break here. It's not the best price tag, but when you're a trader, it doesn't really matter about what the price is. In a sense, it's about trying to capture the path, right? So let's mark this here. Cross our fingers that we take the low first, right? And then if we get that low taken, you could front run this move, but this will become a barrier you have to watch out for. If we get that break, we could hit our head a little bit off the hourly order block, which would induce a pullback. And then we can get these highs here. There's liquidity likely resting, but it could induce a pullback. And then here will be your ultimate target. All right, so that's Dash. Yeah. So that's what I'll be waiting for on Dash. I'm going to clone this chart. Make a copy. We need to have a Dash chart. There we go. So now whenever someone asks me to request looking at Dash, it's going to be a lot easier for me to navigate to a chart. And this is now going to be a shareable chart too. I can share this with the community. Let's go back to Bitcoin. If I sound nervous, by the way, right now, it's because I'm shaking. It's pretty cold in here. Alex, what's up, man? Welcome to the party. What level could Bitcoin drop to before considering a long? Well, we were just talking about that. We have two good levels that we're watching out for. Our local one here at 88,800, the Valley area low. And we have our point of control at 87,850 with the uptrending momentum, right? So we have to wait for structural confluence here or structural confluence here. Well, we could potentially come as low as like 86,934 where there's a lot of liquidity kind of resting below here. What's up, Alex? How you doing, man? Yeah, him and I are jumping into a call together right after this live. You can do it. A couple more assets, bro, and then I can jump on that call with you, man. Okay. Oh, great. What's the next one in line here? XMR, ZEC, AXS, AVAX. AVAX is dying, guys. XMR. Let's see what XMR is doing. Monero, right? I was an early investor in Monero. KuCoin's chart's probably the most history. It's cold in Canada today, guys. Holy crap. The space heater cannot handle it. I'm literally shaking right now. Oh, Monero, man, bro. It had that violent move. Obviously, it's going to be taken. Whenever you see moves like this guy, you don't FOMO into your trades. You FOMO out, right? If you're in a big, let's say you're a holder of an asset and you see those massive spikes up, the moment you see weakness, prepare for it to be reclaimed. But look at that legacy. That legacy support's been holding us up really well. Delete some of this noise. I didn't mean to do that. Got a revolving momentum here. Hiccup, sorry. Yeah, this has been holding us up since April 2024. So a 662-day legacy support level. Like one of those levels that you just never want broken. A big spike up. Let's go to the hourly. I know one thing that kind of happened that was bullish for Monero. It's not even because of regulation or anything like that. So we had a lot of more security in the network because of Cubic. Yeah, Cubic is another asset altogether, has been using Monero as a tool, like a mining tool, to help fuel their economy. So it's really interesting how like they're using another asset to kind of boost their own. And it was around the time that this happened, when we had this big move up, where Cubic started mining a bunch of Monero. So it kind of enhanced the security of Monero's network. But yeah, we got a pretty aggressive pullback now. And our key level on the hourly is pretty high up. We're dancing internally right now. So right here is our key level on the hourly. And between this high and this low, all price action on the hourly time frame is going to be internal. And there's a lot of people that don't like internal structure, but really you can kind of treat it the same if you have good confluence. You just got to be aware of the barriers, like the rules of the highs and the lows, right? So we'll flip bullish on the hourly when we break this, but if we take this low first, then our key level is going to rotate to this high. So if you're looking for that hourly change character, you kind of want to depend on this low to be taken first, so you can get that earlier change character. And with the 50-day EMA being here, it's a good confluence. But right now as we speak, it does look like we're likely to be coming down because of three forms of confluences. We have the fact that we're still actively, technically bearish, right, on the hourly time frame. We broke this low. We have supply that was created right here, right, short, 50-day EMA, and we just mitigated an hourly order block. So decent forms of confluence, and now structurally lower time frames, we're losing that VWAP. So let's start to zoom in. We can actually pull a value area here if you like, up until about here. Now, if we fully mitigated this supply, I would be including it in my pull. Like if we saw something like this down, then my pull would start at the top of that supply instead. But in this case, we're getting everything below that the floor there. All right, so we're at the local value area high. We got fairly balanced value area. Nothing crazy. Not like a D frame. D frames are really good for balance. Usually have your point of control right in the center. Let's zoom in on the 15-minute. Yeah, so we got similar posture to hype, right? We got that kind of rounded top, almost like an incomplete Ab and Eve, right? You normally want to have equal highs with an Ab and Eve to make it a little bit stronger of a move down. Statistically, I've noticed XMR, same kind of thing, except it didn't have that wild pump, right? It just kind of rotated instead from this like volume gap past this volume node and ran up from here. And so it wasn't like percentage-wise like a wild move. It's like only like 3%, whereas hype kind of just like went to the moon a bit. So here, yeah, good key level to watch out for. If it breaks, then we're likely going to be falling down to this valley area low, uptrending momentum confluence. But in my opinion, if I were to be a trader of this asset, I'd really want that low to be taken to evolve our higher time frame structure, so we can have really, really good confluence for when this level breaks. You'd have more trade participants if you have a higher time frame change of character off of a key level like that. So sweeping that low would be pretty nice. So you can mark up your order block here alongside that point control, value area low, and you can prepare for longs here. But the short, in terms of R&R, is terrible. At least if you're trying to enter off of this. What could you get? Yeah, break of this low, stop loss. Yeah, you could be a little bit lenient with your stop loss. It doesn't have to be off this strong high. You can maybe use this most recent pullback high, and your target's just right here. So you're not even getting a 1-to-1. And we had a bit of a front run opportunity off of some local sweeps. Yeah, sweep of this liquidity. You can get on that, maybe that confirming candle right here at 482. I think that's probably the best R&R scenario you can get. But yeah, we lost that VWAP. We could come up to fight it again and then come down. So I'd be sitting on my hands and waiting for the long scenario instead. Not thinking about the short, just being aware of the short. If you're in any longs, this is a key level that you don't want to be broken because it would likely induce a pullback. So you want to see like a structure down here, define a good maybe internal change character. External if we take some lows here. And then look for longs back up to the value high. Knowing that the supply here has gotten weaker. And you prepare for potential move back up. Order block here on the flush with the value high too. So that would be a barrier you have to watch out for. Similar scenario to what we're seeing at the bottom. 15-minute order block flush with the value area low and one flush with the value area high. So you got some dual confluence there. Yeah, so I'll be sitting on my hands waiting patiently for a long. So that's Monero. Hope that helps you out, man. Okay. I used Monero to buy... Okay, good thing I didn't read that out loud. Well then. Everything went smoothly, so I'm a fan. Okay. Right on. It's a good network for that. Secret network. That the secret part of the network is kind of collapsing though, because technology, Merkle root technology is kind of exposing people using Monero network. For example, if you were to take funds into the Monero network, and then at any point you moved funds to a centralized exchange like Coinbase, by you providing your KYC to Coinbase, they then, like for example, the CRA does this, they can then find out the origin of those funds through Merkle root technology. So they could tell it came from a secret network like Monero. And at that point, you could get flagged just for using a secret network these days. So just be a little cautious about that in terms of like an audit and taxes and stuff. Not saying avoid taxes or anything like that, but I am saying that you should like log every transaction that you do and be as honest as you possibly can. I know the government these days aren't exactly using money for ethical things, especially the Canadian government. But yeah, I'll just stop talking about that stuff. But yeah, guys, I had a really good call with you guys. A lot of fun. We went through a lot of assets. We went through Bitcoin, Dash, Ethereum, XLM, ZBCN, Solana, Hype, a few others. One I haven't even seen before, XLVX, I think it was. But I do got to head out. I got a call promised with a friend. Got Alex Crypto waiting for me. I'm sorry I didn't get everyone's requests. There's a couple of them that I missed. But you can always reach out to me in the Discord if you need any help with anything. And yeah, if you're looking to learn more, we do have a course. And we are good at... Like, we have a 30-day course that has a ton of material. You're going to learn like 3 to 5 strategies by the end of the course. So you can pick one of the profitable strategies and just copy the rules off of it. And then just literally do everything on a checklist format, right? The checklist format is what gets rid of the emotion, right? So yeah, if you're looking to learn, we have a link down below under InvestiShare, and that can help you guys really evolve your trading. And we give signals, coaching calls. We do daily calls every day. Every morning I'm trade hunting, sharing my setups, sharing what I'm preparing for, like this short here that we're looking at today. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for liking, subscribing, and sharing. We are starting to grow. Pretty excited. We have a goal to try to get to 25,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I think we can accomplish it with your help. Thanks so much, guys. You have yourself an amazing day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern.